Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
For centuries, ancient cultures knew the secrets to longevity, vitality, and healing. Now, modern science is catching up. Ageless Blueprint is a podcast that will reveal the modern secrets of better health and a better life. Join Dr. Eldred Taylor here today and every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on W4HC Radio at W4HC.com. As together we discover the secrets to better health through science and spirituality. A better life with Ageless Blueprint starts now. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
Hello, it is Wednesday, it's 9 o'clock, so it's time for the Ageless Blueprint Podcast, and I am Dr. Eldred Taylor. I am the Hormone Doctor, and I am the Spiritual MD, and here we try to connect body, mind, and spirit back together after medicine and modern science just kind of negated that. So that's what is going on now. I want to tell you, hey, about a year ago, I started this transformation. I decided that at 64 at that time, that I wasn't going to decline as I got older. I was going to get better. I was going to start new adventures. Took this course called the Reality course, and it really changed my life. And one thing about that, it was like, look over your life and see how everything led you to a certain point. So for me, growing up, the son of a Baptist minister, so they got me interested in spirituality, religion, and we can talk about the differences and the similarities of those two. And, so then I went to school. I decided I wanted to be a doctor, really because I had a surgery when I was 12 years old, and I just admired those doctors so much that I said, that's what I want to do. So I decided to be a doctor. For some reason, I decided to do OBGYN because I didn't really want to deal with death. I wanted to deal with the other side of, life. And through that, I married my wife, and then my wife had all these hormone issues. And I'm an OBGYN. She's a woman. She has these hormone issues. And what I learned in school didn't seem to help. So that put me on a search for something else, to help my wife. We actually did the search together. My wife's a physician too. So from that, we learned about saliva testing and hormones, and we wrote a book, Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? And then the stress connection. And then for about 10 years, I went around the world speaking about all of this stuff, about saliva testing and whatever. And then some things happened in my life. COVID hit, all of that got shut down. And after that time, I just had this uneasiness. And last year it just came to fruition, thinking about what I'm going to do at 65. And I'm just like, what am I going to do? And I was frustrated. And what I understood is that everything was leading me to right here, that in this space and time, I can do what I've been trying to do for 25 years a lot easier. I can communicate with a lot of people through social media and podcasts and all these things. And that message that I tried to deliver 10, 15 years ago, that message still needs to be told. And now there are new ways to do it. And that's why I'm doing a podcast. That's why I'm on TikTok. That's why I'm on Instagram, because I believe this information is so important for not only women, but for families, for communities, and even for the world. And I know that sounds crazy, but we're going to go through these slides, and I'm going to show you how important it is for hormones to be balanced, and that if people knew this information, we could change the world. See, I'm at this point now where I'm very clear about what I'm supposed to do. This is my little light. I grew up in the church, so it's like, let your light shine. This is my little light. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Well, the light I have is the light on women's hormones. How can we shed the light on women's hormones, get them balanced? Because if that happens, the family gets stabilized. The community gets stabilized. And from the community, you have enough communities that are stable, the world becomes stable. But everything starts with one decision. One decision. And what I hope is that you make a decision that you are going to not just do what everybody else does, but you're going to look for new solutions. You cannot keep doing the same thing and expecting something different to happen. So women, you can't keep going to the doctor, asking them to draw your blood and them telling you it's normal. And then you walk away and take that as the truth. It's not. So anyway, I don't want to get, because I could talk about this all day, all night. That's how passionate I am about this. But let's go to the slide so I can kind of stay on point. All right. All right. The hidden hormone truth. What impacts your entire family? While women 40 and over must know this, and how Hormone Clarity restores peace, energy, and stability. And I'm just telling you, we're going to talk about this, but women hold the family together. And we're talking about family values all the time. If that family unit does not stay coherent and cohesive, it causes a ripple effect through the whole community and beyond. So that whole thing about if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy, well, it couldn't be more true. And so how can we help women be happy is by balancing their hormones. That is the key. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. You're not struggling because you're aging. You're struggling because your hormones are misfiring and your family feels it. Let me tell you, I know this firsthand. The reason why we wrote that book, Are Your Hormones Making You Sick? Is because my wife she had hormone problems. She will tell you that. That's why we're doing this. But anyway, the reason why is that she got to the point where she was irritated with everybody, my kids, me. 2 weeks before her period, everything was awful in her life. And then the next 2 weeks after her period, everything was fine. And what happens is she blames me, she blames the kids. And finally, we came to the realization after I learned this, because I didn't learn this in medical school, and I'm ashamed to say it, it was her hormones. And so our whole home was disrupted because her hormones were out of balance. And that's the reason why we wrote that book. So I'm not being sexist or feminist. I'm not blaming my wife. I'm not doing any of that stuff. I'm just telling you, when the woman is not feeling her best, then the family's not the best. The relationship's not the best. Your interaction with other people aren't the best. So that's why it's so important. And that's why I feel like this is a mission. It's not just something I'm trying to get more subscribers or whatever. I am trying to change women's health. I just figured out one thing. For 25 years, I waited for medicine to change. And then I finally realized that medicine is not going to change. Movements start from the ground up. They start from a group of people organizing themselves and then expanding on that. And then it makes the system have to change. That's what happened in OB, is that at first we used to have the woman in the labor room and delivery room by herself, and the guy was out smoking a cigarette or whatever. And then women said, no, you're not going to treat me having a baby like I'm sick. This is a natural procedure, and I want it to happen naturally. And that's what's happening now with 40 and 50 years old. That's what happened 20 years ago when I was doing this. But there's a whole new generation of doctors who don't understand this. And there's a whole new generation of women who are going through this stage that wasn't going through it when I was talking about it 20 years ago. And that's what I have to understand. So I have a rebirth, and I'm rebirthing that message because it needs to be told. And I want to recruit people to help me do it. So when you rise, the whole family rises. This is the reason your symptoms haven't improved, because your hormones are misfiring and no one is doing the proper test. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So this is why this really lit a fire under me. At first I was kind of wavering about what I should do. Should I focus on women, or the men going to be, feel left out? But let me just tell you, this is why I really am focused on this right now. Last week we talked about the FDA removing the black box warning. So what they did is to say that, okay, it's not a black box, means that it's like cigarettes or whatever. It can harm you. So they took that away, but nothing really changed. Okay. They didn't talk about testing. They talked about you can't take hormones over 60. If you're over 60, we were talking about you should start it within 10 years of menopause. That's the same stuff they were saying 20, 30 years ago that didn't make any sense, that wasn't helping my wife, that the only thing that was helping my wife was to properly test her and to properly treat her. That's the only thing that works. And so removing the FDA ban, it hasn't stopped the confusion. There's still confusion. There's more guessing. And believe me, if they're drawing your blood, they're guessing. And I'm going to show you, they're just guessing. All right. There's more providers using outdated tests. So it's going to make it where the providers are going to say, oh, wow, it's safe. I don't even have to worry about testing. I can just go by symptoms because, hey, now it's safe. Hey, it never was. Unbalanced hormones is never safe. And guessing is never safe. All right. Now, more women are being misled. See, there's a lot of influencers out there. There's a lot of, I get this Substack. I don't know really how I got subscribed to it, but she calls herself the menopause professor. And I'm trying to figure out how she became a menopause professor. And mostly what they're talking about is lifestyle changes, doing all that. That's fine. I believe that is an adjunct to this. But the first thing you have to do is to figure out what is out of balance and put it back in balance. And you'd be surprised what will happen. All right. So this is why I'm doing this Hormone Clarity movement. We have to have enough people distributing the correct information so that we can end this confusion about women's health. I can't believe that I'm 30 years down. I'm 30 years in my career, over 30 years in my career. And we're still talking about the same things that we were talking about 35 years ago. Are you going to tell me that nothing has improved, that nothing has helped to clear this up? And because I'm on TikTok and I see over and over again, I have this, I have that, I have this, and the doctor keeps saying that my blood tests are normal. Well, don't keep doing the same thing over and over again and think something different is going to happen. There's no need of even drawing your blood. You're wasting your money. You're inflicting pain upon yourself that's not even going to help. Now, I'm just talking about hormones. If you're getting your potassium and all that, those are water-soluble hormones. And we're going to get to that in a minute. But this is important because now it's almost like the guardrails have been taken off. Now I'm worried that you're going to see all kinds of confusing information. So we have to have an army of people who know what they're talking about, who understand how and when to test and how to balance women's hormones. All right. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So bad advice you've been given. Here's what I hear all the time. When patients come to my office after they've been to another doctor, here's what they say. You just need more estrogen. I'll tell you, everybody knows about estrogen. We talk about estrogen over and over again. That's what they would talk about. I was told all postmenopausal women are estrogen deficient. That is not true. That's not true. Why did they think that? Because they were doing the wrong test. That is the whole problem. So if it's not just more estrogen and you're depressed and anxious before your period or with menopause, they say just take an antidepressant. And I always say that's just so you don't feel so bad about how bad you feel. Here's what I hear over and over again. Your labs are normal. The woman has fibroids. She has irregular bleeding. You can have uterine cancer and your blood test will still show normal. And I will show you why that is. So just go to the doc. I mean, here's what happens. You go to the doc, you have all these problems. They say, hey, your labs are normal. And what do? You get birth control pills. You have irregular bleeding, birth control pills. You have PMS, you have PCOS, you have whatever OS or whatever you want. The answer premenopausally is birth control pills. Postmenopausally, they're going to give you some type of hormone replacement based on symptoms, not on actual test results. On TikTok yesterday, I was doing a live and I said, Ask the doctor to explain your hormone test to you and why they're giving you that particular hormone. They won't be able to do it. And one of the the people said, yeah, I asked him and he was like, oh no, you won't understand this. You won't understand it because they don't understand it, because it doesn't make any sense. I did an OBGYN residence. We never ever drew blood levels. We never even drew any levels. We just gave birth control pills. That was always the answer. And if that didn't work, you figured out something else to do, a laparoscopy, a biopsy, something. So that's not just a part of aging. It's not just aging. It is aging because as you get older, your hormones shift, and you just need to know what that shift is and try and bring it back into balance. Okay. Because the shift is that you are transitioning out of your reproductive stage into your non-reproductive stage. And whenever there is a transition or a change taking place, there's going to be some chaos involved in any type of change. Me changing to learn social media and to get my message out on social media, it is a real transition. It is a change. It is a lot of chaos, me trying to figure this out. All right, so let's go to the next slide. All right, women are the backbone of the family, and that is so true. And I want to talk about an ageless blueprint. One of the big turning points with me was when I went to Egypt. We went to Egypt. My wife and I went to Egypt last year, right around Christmas time. And when you see the statues of the pharaohs and all of these in the temple, on a lot of those, you will see the pharaoh in front. But then if you look to the sides, you'll see that his wife or a woman is actually pushing him forward. And when you talk about behind every great man, there's a great woman. That is an ageless blueprint. I'll tell you another ageless blueprint. When mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. All right. So that's what we have got to correct, because women are the backbone of the family. Your hormones shape the emotional tone of the home. And any woman or anybody living in a home with a woman who's going through that transition and having trouble with it because their hormones are out of balance will tell you that the emotional tone of the home is governed by the woman. The woman is the master of the household. And any married man knows that. You go out. I'm not being sexist. I'm just saying that's an ageless blueprint. All right. So you are the axis. You are the emotional barometer. You regulate the home. When you're imbalanced, everyone feels it. When you find clarity, your family rises with you. So you are the key. This is why I'm focusing on women. Now I know from being in practice, especially as an OBGYN, but then I became a functional medicine doc about 15 years ago. So now I see men also, and we deal with their hormones and weight and everything. But this is what I came to understand. Women are the gatekeeper to medicine or to doctors. Women go and they figure all of this stuff out. They research it. And then once they experience it and they get a good experience, they will try and get their husbands to come. So the husband comes in and I ask him, hey, what's going on? What he'll say is, I don't know. My wife sent me. So in order for me to get men to understand this, women have to understand it and they have to lead the way. And so they are the backbone. So we need to take special care, and we need to make sure that these women get good information, that they get good testing, so that we can reestablish stability in the home. I did a podcast about gray divorce. The incidence of divorce of people over 50 that have been married for more than 20 years has gone up by 35% in the last 20 years. And half of those or more are initiated by women. And I believe that a lot of it is because of the instability in their hormones, and it causes instability in the relationship, causes instability in the home. And this is from experience. I know it's anecdotal, but I've had several women come in and say, I may not have gotten a divorce if my hormones had been corrected. And then I have guys say, thank you for bringing my wife back to me. That's how important it is. And I've been confined to this office in Atlanta, Georgia. And I know this is something that should have been taught in junior high school. It should have been taught in college health classes. It should have been taught in medical school. It should have been taught in my residency. And so I just decided that if medicine is not going to change, I'm going to have to lead the charge in making the change. So I'm up for the task. Okay. I'm up for the task, and I'm trying to see if anybody else wants to join me in this movement of mine. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, so here are some 3 hormone secrets that can change everything. And this is what we call simple but deep. It's simple things, but it can make a big change. Your hormones aren't broken, they're just miscommunicating. And you can say it's miscommunicating, or they're just out of balance. They're unsteady. We don't have a steady flow of estrogen and progesterone in the right balance. And so that's what causes problems physically, mentally, and spiritually. And so if we're going to bring back body, mind, and spirit, like my spiritual MD persona is attempting, then we have to get the hormones straight first. We got to get the body right so that the mind can be clear. And so now you can connect back with your purpose, with your spirit. All right. Now, you can heal a body. You can't heal a body you don't understand or believe in. So if you believe your body is betraying you, that somehow you're cursed and nobody understands what's going on with you, and you're just going to have to live like this for the rest of your life, you can't heal. Okay, because you're in this fight or flight. You're fighting for your family. You're fighting for your sanity. All right. So there's no way you can heal. So you need to be able to understand what is going on so that you can calm your nervous system. So now you can take some coordinated steps toward balancing your hormones. You can't create a better future using outdated hormone methods. That's why I'm saying they're saying the same things that they said 30 years ago. You're not going to get better if you keep thinking the same way. You're going to keep getting the same result. So we've got to stop guessing in women's hormones. I keep saying that over and over again, but that is the key. If we had good information, you would get a good outcome. Next slide. Oh, I meant to have this one. Let's go to the next one. This is if I'm doing it and it's not live, but hey, I hope you know me. Hey, yeah, I've been doing this for like 25 years. We wrote books, and this is my mission. So that this is a thing I'm going to do for YouTube, and for people who don't know me, I say that, but hopefully you know me. And if you don't, look at my other podcasts. Through all of those, I've kind of revealed a lot of things about myself. All right, now, the moment everything changed, women aren't just patients. They are the home center of gravity. When the woman goes down, the family goes down. And when she rises, the home rises. And that's just fact, guys. It's just pure, simple fact. Now, I know I'm overgeneralizing, but just think, okay? You see these athletes, talk about, how they grew up and whatever. 89% of them talk about their mother. Now, I know there's some, I know fathers are important. I'm a father, okay? So I'm not dismissing that. I'm not, demeaning that. But they talk about their mother, because the mother, if the mother can prevent the family from going down, even though chaos is all around them. A lot of these athletes grew up in some of the worst conditions, but they talk about how the mother stabilized them, kept them out of trouble, made sure that they were on the right path. And again, I know fathers contribute, okay, but who do they talk about? They talk about their mother. All right, so let's move on. All right, you know what? I want to see if there's any questions, because I'm going to take a break early, because I want people to really understand why I'm talking about the wrong test is being done. Okay, so I want to take a break. Is there a problem with my internet? I saw it said it was just audio only right there. Is that a problem?
That's me. I'm audio only.
Oh, okay. So, but everything's going through?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, look, I want to really spend a lot of time on this. So this is the key. I want everybody to kind of get their mind reset, because this is going to explain why your blood tests are normal and you still feel awful. So we're going to talk about what you find in the blood and what you find in the tissue, and why it's so important that everybody understands the importance of changing the way we test hormones. If we just do that one simple thing, I'm telling you, it would make a tremendous difference in the life of everyone who is a woman or who's associated with a woman. If you just understood this, this has been my foundation for 25 years. I have been trying to get this message across, and I am determined. If I can't get it across, I'm going to train some people who can help me get it across. That's how determined I am. So let's go to a break, and I want everybody to get ready to learn this important concept.
We are going to a quick break, so stay with us as we explore the Ageless Blueprint right here on W4HC Radio and Talk4 TV. An ancient secret with a modern twist for better health and vitality. Dr. Taylor will be right back. Taking care of your health shouldn't mean taking a handful of pills every day. At Taylor MD Formulations, they create doctor-developed supplements that combine the best natural ingredients so you get the results you need with fewer pills. Taylor MD Formulations is backed by science, designed for real life with real results. Less pills, better health, doctor approved. Shop now at TaylorMDFormulations.com and discover smarter supplements for smarter health. That's TaylorMDFormulations.com. We are back for more of Ageless Blueprint. Once again, let's join Dr. Taylor for more insights and research on the ancient secret to better health and a better life in modern times. Here's your host, Dr. Eldred Taylor.
Okay, I am back. I am Dr. Eldred Taylor. I am the hormone doctor. I am the spiritual MD. And now I am the leader of the Hormone Clarity movement. The Hormone Clarity movement. And this is how you're going to get clear on your hormones. This right here. All right. Now, everybody says, hey, and my blood tests are normal, right? Well, let me tell you why. Okay. So let me see if I can make this bigger. But this is fine. Okay. So what is in the blood? So they draw your blood. This is your blood right here. All right. So your blood is a transportation system. So just think that this is some big highway. We have a highway called 285. It goes around the city. So what do? You travel along the road, and then you either go to work. So just think about getting off an off ramp. So this is getting off an off ramp. So when you're measuring in the blood, you're measuring all the cars on the road. All right. All the cars, and all of those cars are carrying, I call it a FedEx truck. They're carrying a package of either estrogen or progesterone. Okay. So the estrogen and progesterone has to get dumped off. It gets dumped off in this space here. That's the tissue. And these are the cells in the tissue. And this part is fat soluble. Hormones are fat soluble. Oil and water don't mix, correct? So if these fat soluble hormones were in the blood, they would have to be protected so they won't settle out. Oil and water don't mix. So they're carried around in something called a sex hormone binding globulin, or the FedEx truck. And then they're dropped off. Now, the only thing that matters is what hormone gets into the cell, because that's where your DNA is. And that's what causes estrogen to make things grow. That's what causes progesterone to slow down the growth and to increase normal development and to prevent cancer and all that. It has to get in the cell. It doesn't matter how much is here. It only matters how much is in this space and is available to the cell so that it can go into the DNA and do what estrogen and progesterone and testosterone and cortisol is supposed to do. So this is where the action is down here. Your blood tests are normal, because look at all those cars, but look at how many are down here. All right, that is what matters. So when this is out of balance, the number of cars, if two cars go off the highway and you're still looking at the highway, you don't notice that those two cars have gotten off. So that's why I'm saying in the blood, you don't even notice that one or two estrogens or progesterones got off the road and went into the tissue. So your blood tests are always normal. Now, when you're postmenopausal, what happens is that this picks up hormones that come from the ovary. That's the only thing it picks up. So when your ovary stops making estrogen, it looks like you have no more hormones. But hey, in your fat tissue, you can actually convert testosterone and androstenedione. And I know those are long names, but you can convert other hormones into estrogen in your fat tissue. That's why women naturally have a little bit more fat, so that they have an estrogen production system, even though they're menopausal. So that's why the blood test always looks like there's nothing there when you're postmenopausal and everything's there when you're premenopausal. This is why saliva is important, because this is the saliva gland. This is how you make saliva. It's a little gland in your mouth. And look at this. You have these cells like this right around the saliva gland. Now, this is the blood is way up here. All right. So now this is telling me what got into these cells. So now I know what is affecting the DNA. Is that in balance? Is it out of balance? And it all tells me by looking at the saliva. It is telling me what is happening in these cells through the saliva, where the blood tells me absolutely nothing about what is going on down here. And then what happens is you go to the doctor and they try to compare their blood test to the saliva test. And because they don't match, they say that the saliva is no good. No, they're measuring two different things. So you can't say that the saliva is no good because it doesn't match blood. The blood was no good anyway. So you're comparing something to something that didn't work. So that's what I hear all the time. So Rebel, just stick with me. You tell me any questions that you have, because I have got to get it over to people that this is the proper way to look at hormones. For 30 years, I've heard the same thing. My blood tests are normal. I'm just going to go by symptoms. And I've been doing this for 25 to 30 years. And I know it works. It works. It's been around since 1960. There's all kinds of studies on it. If anybody wants the original studies of this, I'll be happy to provide it, because the doctors will say there's no studies. Just because you haven't read a study doesn't mean that the study doesn't exist. And that's what I used to say over and over again when I was lecturing about this before. All right. So, Rebel, can you understand that this is why the blood looks normal all the time, and it has no bearing on what is here in the tissue? And this is where we get good information from, not from here. It's as simple as that.
Oh, yes. I
You
totally
understand
get
that,
it.
Rebel?
I totally get it. It's like they only get in the feedback from when the truck is totally packed.
Yes.
Not
Yes.
any deliveries, not anything. It only
Yeah.
reads a full truck.
It only reads a full truck. Or if you have 100 packages on there and 2 fall off, they drop off on the road, you don't even notice it. Okay. It's like, oh, okay. So that's the key. Because see, only about 1 to 2% of what's in the truck gets dropped off. So when the blood levels have a wide range, let's say the normal blood estrogen is 100 to 400. Well, if it goes from 400 to 399, it's still normal. Okay. So that's the issue. So the amount that's here is much different than there. And that's, I can't explain it any more simply than that. You're measuring two different.
Another issue is that they're basing this on a range, but they're not basing it on other things that change in that range.
Yeah.
For each individual person. The range is
Right.
not wide enough. It just doesn't match, because everybody
Yeah.
has different things.
Right. And everybody is going. And let me tell you the other thing that happens. This is the problem with blood testing. Okay. So you have hormone that's dropped off here. And what happens is the doctor gives you hormones. He rechecks your blood. He doesn't see that it's in the blood. He says you're not absorbing the hormone. So he gives you more. And then he gives you more, because he's looking for the blood level to go up. Let me tell you, the only way you can get this blood level to go up is once this tissue is saturated. It has so much hormone in it that it can't even hold it anymore. It starts to go back into the blood. So by the time your blood level goes up, it means that your tissue is overloaded and now it's desensitized to the hormone, so it doesn't work anymore. I can tell you, I see men over and over again who've been on testosterone for 2 or 3 years, and they say, "Oh, my blood levels are up, but I feel like I'm not even taking anything." And the reason why is that to get that blood level up, you have now desensitized this tissue. There's so much hormone there, it doesn't even know how to react to it, so it just stops. So if you are using blood to monitor your hormone replacement therapy, you're going to get bad advice again. You're going to get overdosed. I've seen it over and over again. I do a saliva test, and their hormone levels are through the roof. So I am telling you this based on 25 years of experience, not because of something I started doing last year. And a lot of people out there are on the internet and talking a bunch of gibberish, and they just started doing it last year and didn't take the time to really understand it. And that's what I'm fighting. So, all right. So let's go to the next slide. So Rebel, I'm taking your word that this is a good explanation. And if it's not, I'll come back next week and I'll give you the same explanation. And you can follow me on TikTok or YouTube or whatever. But I am going to change how we measure women's hormones. I've waited 25 years for it to happen. It's not going to happen. This is my light, and I'm going to let it shine. All right. So why miscommunication creates your symptoms? This isn't aging. It's a communication problem. So you're having these mood swings. You have low libido. So that disrupts your relationship with your spouse. You have weight gain. Women, if they don't feel good about themselves and how they look, it doesn't matter how much the husband says how beautiful they are. They have to be comfortable with themselves. And when your hormones are out of balance, estrogen makes you store fat. The lack of progesterone, because progesterone helps you to burn fat for energy, the lack of progesterone causes you to have this uncontrollable weight gain. You have anxiety and irritability and fatigue and sleep problems. All of this can be corrected if we can test your hormones correctly and give you the right solution and put you back in balance. All of this can be corrected. Next slide. I want to get to, okay, so you can't heal a body if you don't believe in it. You've been told your symptoms are normal, it's your fault, and they're neither. Your body has never stopped trying to heal. It's trying its best. All of those mood swings and irregular bleeding and all of that, your body is trying to tell you something, and you're not getting the message. And the medical community is not helping you to decipher the message. Your symptoms are messages. Yes, every symptom you have. If you have pain somewhere, hey, I was out in the garden and I got a splinter in my finger. Well, what happened? I got pain. It's telling me, hey, I've got a foreign body in me. Every symptom is trying to give you a message. You've just never been given the right map. The right map is doing the saliva test. All right, let's go to the next slide. Got about 12 minutes here. We get this. Okay. Outdated hormone testing is damaging women's health. And I hope I explained that to you. Modern science shows your body can rebalance. Hormones can normalize. I do before and after testing. Patients get tested twice a year. They feel secure about their hormones being in balance. I feel secure about what I'm doing for them. And everybody's happy. Mama's happy. Everybody's happy. My practice is happy. Everything gets better when mama is happy. Genes can shift. Yes, you can shift your genes by your mindset, by your connection with spirit. All of these can change which genes are expressed. And that's talking about cancer and everything else. You have to have balance in order for you to prevent disease. It's simple as that. Stress can reset. Yes, we wrote the book, The Stress Connection, but now I'm talking about how you can have stress disconnection. Intimacy can return. Men, if the woman does not feel good, don't think that because the woman feels bad, that sex will solve her problems. That's the way men think. Men, if they have sex, all of their problems go away. Women, they have to feel like they are calm and relaxed in order to want to have intimacy. So her problems need to be solved. Her irritability needs to be removed. When men are irritable, they have sex, they're not irritable anymore. When women are irritable and men mention sex, that just heightens their irritability. And if you haven't experienced that, I'm just trying to give you some advice. Don't do it. Don't don't try and approach them when they are irritable. It does not work. Energy can return. Yes, if you look at cortisol, and it's not about testosterone, and we can get into that. And peace can return. You can have peace in your home again, but mama has to be happy. Let's go to the next one. Yes.
If a woman has too much testosterone, would that need for sex, like would it switch with like a man?
Yeah. No. Here's the thing. This is what people think. Now, here's what I will tell you. Some women will tell you that testosterone helps them and with their libido, but that is not what I would say across the board. I don't see that. Let me tell you the problem with testosterone in women. When you give too much testosterone to a woman, they quickly go from increased libido to aggressive, okay? Because they're not supposed to have that aggression type hormone, okay? It's just, I'm just telling you biologically, testosterone is a minor hormone in women. It's a major hormone in men. So, that's what men and women think, that, oh, if I give her a little testosterone, she is going to be a sex fiend. She's going to be a fanatic. No. What will happen is her hair will start falling out. She'll get acne. She won't feel good about herself. And now she's going to be more aggressive because that's what testosterone does. Believe me, if I thought that worked, I would have my wife bathing in testosterone. It doesn't work like that. So don't worry. Okay. Now, so I hope that answers the question. In some cases, testosterone will help with muscle mass in women. And in some women, it does help with libido, but across the board, I wouldn't say that. All right. So understand. So stop guessing, start understanding, start healing, understand your hormone patterns, balance your system naturally, test correctly with saliva, and restore your emotional tone in your home. Again, if you get better, everybody gets better. So let's just think. Christmas and the holidays are coming up. High stress time. If your hormones are out of balance, it's going to be revealed during this time. So let's just think how much nicer the holidays would be if mama had her hormones in balance. It would make Thanksgiving better. It would make Christmas better. It makes the whole family better. It makes the extended family better. The extended family makes their communities better. And you slowly but surely change everything just by changing one thing. Change how you test women's hormones. That's all we have to do. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Here's a question that came in.
Yes.
Since it's the holidays, would this be a good time to have a sale, or are you having a sale on the saliva testing so they can give it to their parents?
Hey, what I have, if you go to my Stand store, I actually do have a sale. That's in there. It's called the Stand store, and we'll put some links on here. I really do have a sale. What I've been doing is that you purchase the saliva test. You do it. I'll give you all the instructions, and I'll get the results back. And then what happens is I will send you a video review, tell you exactly what's going on, so you understand everything. And after that, if I'll give you instructions about what I think could help. And if you'd like to have a discovery call after that, and we can talk specifically. But that's how we're doing. And it really is on sale, where normally if we just do 3 hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, it was usually $250. Now it's $195, I think. You can go to the Stand store. And then if you add cortisol to that, it was $340. It is on sale. Okay. It is on sale. And we can get it in at least before Christmas, because it takes about 2 weeks to get the results back. But let's go through this. I got 5 minutes. I want to make sure I get through this. All right. So this is your roadmap to transformation. If you go to my school group, skool.com/ageless, it's in all my links right here. Join my school group. It's free. And it used to be you had to pay $10 a month to get this course. Now you do have to pay $10 a month to get the other courses, but this is free because I want women to understand this. It's a Hormone Clarity course. So from that, and from this podcast, and from taking that, you ought to be totally convinced, yes, I need a saliva test. So you get the saliva test. Now you get the review. We balance your hormones. You transform your home. And if you're really interested in, and we'll talk about who could benefit from that. If you're really interested, we have a Hormone Clarity coaching certification course where I'll give you my badge of approval. And it's talking about, this is the Taylor MD method of Hormone Clarity, is with saliva testing. All right. And I'm going to say this, I probably have done saliva testing for longer than almost anybody in the medical community. So this is a method that I know works. It has 25 years of proven work. And I tell people, Google my office, Taylor Medical Group, and you'll see my reviews. And this works. I have a 4.8 rating, and it's mostly talking about how saliva testing changed my patients' lives. So let's go to the next slide. So, but first, I want you to get yourself right. So why women become coaches? Now, I just put this out yesterday, and I already have 5 people who have applied for coaching. So this is the founders group. So I'm looking for coaches who I can train. And I'm telling you, this is simple information. It's simple, but it's deep. It's simple, but it can change people's lives. It can change communities. It can change homes, communities, and it can eventually change the consciousness of a nation and possibly the world. I know that sounds grandiose, but that's how much I believe in this. So who could really share this message and make a big difference? Fitness trainers. Remember how estrogen makes you store fat? I go to the gym 3 times a week, and I see these women and they're struggling, and I'm like, wow, I wish I could tell them about fixing their hormones. My chiropractor, who she's been on semaglutide, but we told her hormones were out of balance. So she was working out, she was doing everything. But once we got our hormones balanced, I just saw her yesterday. She's lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks, in 3 months. She's lost 30 pounds in 3 months, where she wasn't losing anything before we balanced her hormones. So even the GLP-1s don't work as well if your hormones are out of balance. So marriage counselors, I have a patient who said, wow, she was a marriage counselor. She said, I knew these women were having hormone issues. I'd send them to the doctor. They would come back and say, but hey, he said my hormones are fine. So she became a patient. She realizes what's going on. She's like, this could make such a big difference in my practice. Therapist, my wife is a trained psychiatrist. She realized that most of her patients when she was practicing were 40 to 60-year-olds, and she was labeling them all bipolar. They weren't bipolar. They had hormone imbalances that hadn't been tested appropriately. This is before we began to understand this. If you're just a woman's advocate like this, the menopause professor, she may be a professor, but she could have even more impact if she was talking about this. Health coaches or life coaches. If you are a health coach or a life coach, this information impacts the life of the woman and everybody who is in contact with them. So if you are a life coach, you need to be armed with this information. And I can teach it to you and can help to enhance your business and your offers. And anyone who's guiding women, I don't care if you're a church counselor, a counselor at a community center or whatever, you are someone who could help spread this message. So this is my goal. I've finally become clear on what I'm supposed to do. It took 25 years in the making, but this is how I want to make my impact on the world, okay, is to really get this to be accepted by the mainstream. All right, that's my goal. So we only have like a minute and a half left. Let me see if I have another slide. I don't think I do. Do I have another slide? All right. Your healing is your family healing. Your clarity is your family's clarity. When you rise, everyone rises. You want to start with the free Hormone Clarity course. Go to my Ageless Blueprint, www.school.com/ageless. If you go to all my links here, right there that you see scrolling, you'll see everything I have to offer. But you want to go to the Stand store. You want to join the Ageless Blueprint community. I'm there every day. I give an Ageless tip of the day. Do we have any questions? I know I've been talking, so we got a little bit of time. Any questions?
People were asking how much does it cost to get into that program?
Hey, coming to the Ageless Blueprint, I am still developing it. I'm going to have a lower tier of people who just want to learn. I'll have another tier who really want to be coaches, and I'll teach them how they can. We're going to offer commissions off of if you are promoting the test, any supplements, if you get other people to join the coaching program, we'll give you a commission there. And here's the ultimate goal. If I have enough patients going to doctors demanding saliva testing, the doctors will have to go and find somewhere to learn about it. I have another course called Beyond the White Coat, where I teach doctors this so that they can implement it in their patients. So that's my long-term goal. I want to create enough demand that it forces the doctors to change. This is how the pharmaceutical companies work. They show you a commercial and then they say, go to your doctor and ask for this drug. They create a demand and then the doctor has to try and fulfill the demand. So that's the goal. So go to Ageless Blueprint. I'm going to be talking about this all the time. I'll answer your questions there. If you're interested, you can apply for a coach. But anyway, time is over and I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for joining Dr. Taylor today. If you missed any part of this show, just check out the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Ageless Blueprint is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on W4HC Radio at W4HC.com. Together, we discover the ancient secrets to better health through science and spirituality made for modern times. Until then, feel free to check out agelessblueprintpodcast.com and taylormdformulations.com for more information.